There is a specific taste that the modern world is addicted to. You know it well. It is that deep, savory richness found in a dark bottle of seasoning sauce, or the golden cube of bouillon you drop into your soup. We call it umami. We call it the taste of comfort. And for the last 100 years, we have been told that this flavor is a triumph of industrial chemistry, born in a factory, wrapped in foil, and sold to you for a profit. But what if I told you that was a lie? What if I told you that long before the factories, long before the chemical additives and the flavor enhancers, this exact taste grew out of the ground? There is a plant that stands in the snow, defiant and immortal, holding within its leaves a flavor so complex, so potent, that nature only needed to invent it once. In Germany, the old grandmothers still whisper its true name, Magikraut, the Maggi plant. They named the industry after the plant, but the industry wanted you to forget the source. They replaced the perennial with the disposable. They replaced the resilient with the weak. They took away the leaf that grows back for decades and sold you a bottle that runs out in a month. Today, we are going into the frozen archives of history to find the ghost of the supermarket. We are going to rediscover the king of the forgotten herbs. Welcome to ancestral soil. To understand the true power of this plant, we must leave the safety of the modern grocery store and travel back 2,000 years to the muddy, blood-soaked borders of the Roman Empire. The archive opens on a cold night at the edge of the frontier. A Roman legionnaire sits by a dying fire. His rations are failing. The salted meat has begun to turn, carrying the stench of decay and the threat of sickness. In the modern world, we would throw this food away, but here, survival is not about waste, it is about adaptation. The soldier reaches into his pouch and pulls out a handful of dried brown seeds. He crushes them into the pot. Suddenly, the air changes. The smell of rot is replaced by a sharp, aromatic perfume, a mix of celery, parsley, and anise. This was Lovage. For the Roman army, Levisticum officinale was not a garnish, it was a strategic asset. It was a preservative, a medicine, and a morale booster carried in the pocket of every soldier marching across Europe. Where the Roman boots stepped, Lovage grew. It was the taste of civilization in a wild land. Centuries later, as the Roman light faded, the value of this plant only grew sharper. By the year 800, the Holy Roman Emperor Charlemagne looked at his vast domains and realized that food was the ultimate weapon. In his famous decree, the Capitulary de Vilis, he did not politely suggest what his subjects should plant, he commanded it. Lovage was listed as a mandatory crop in every imperial garden, right alongside the staples of life. To the emperor, a garden without lovage was a garden vulnerable to famine and disease. But perhaps the greatest testament to its power comes from the frozen north. In the lands of the Vikings, there is a terrifying time of year known as the Hungry Gap. It is that brutal window in late spring when the winter stores are empty. The salted fish is gone, but the new crops have not yet grown. This was the time of death, the time of scurvy. And in that white desolation, Lovage was the miracle. It is one of the first greens to break the ice, thrusting its head through the melting snow when nothing else dares to grow. For the ancients, spotting that first jagged leaf wasn't just about finding dinner. It was a sign that they had survived another winter. It was the first injection of vitamin C, the first taste of life returning to a frozen world. It was the plant that refused to die. So how does a plant that fueled the Roman legions and saved the Vikings vanish from our collective memory? It was not a plague that killed Lovage. It was something far more dangerous: convenience. The turning point came in the late 19th century. As the world rushed into the Industrial Revolution, men moved from the fields to the factories. They had no time to grow slow food. They needed flavor fast. Enter Julius Maggi. He was a visionary who wanted to bring nutrition to the working class. He created a dark, hydrolyzed vegetable protein sauce that tasted remarkably like the herb growing in the garden. It was salty, it was meaty, it was instant. But in that stroke of genius, a tragedy occurred. The bottle became easier than the bush. Why wait for a plant to grow when you can buy the flavor for pennies? Slowly, the Maggie plant was replaced by the Maggie bottle. We traded the complex biology of a living leaf for the flat reliability of a chemical formula. Then came the supermarkets, and this is where the story turns into a thriller. You see, the modern grocery store is not designed to feed you. It is designed to sell to you, repeatedly. They filled the shelves with celery. Look at celery. It is the perfect industrial product. It is an annual crop. It requires you to buy new seeds every year. It is thirsty, fragile, and demands expensive fertilizers. And most importantly, when you harvest it, it dies. If you want more, you must go back to the store and pay again. Lovage is the enemy of this business model. It is a perennial. You plant it once and it refuses to leave. It creates a massive root system that pulls nutrients from deep within the earth, requiring almost no help from you. If you have a lovage bush in your garden, you never need to buy celery for flavor again. You never need to buy soup stock again. For the industrial food system, lovage is a disaster. It is too independent. It is too free. And so they stopped selling it, and we stopped remembering it. But nature does not care about profit margins. And now, modern science is finally catching up to what the ancients knew by instinct. When researchers put Levisticum officinale under the microscope, they didn't just find a flavor, they found a pharmacy. For centuries, we dismissed the old wives' tales as superstition. But today, studies confirm that lovage is packed with quercetin, one of the most potent anti-inflammatory compounds found in the plant kingdom. The Vikings didn't know the word antioxidant, but they knew that this green leaf stopped their joints from aching and their gums from bleeding after a long winter. Furthermore, look at the modern diet. We are drowning in sodium. We are bloated, retaining water from processed foods. Here, lovage reveals its tactical brilliance. It acts as a powerful aquaretic. Unlike synthetic diuretics that strip your body of essential electrolytes like potassium, lovage encourages the kidneys to flush out plain water and excess sodium while keeping the mineral balance intact. It is a natural detoxifier designed perfectly for the human machine. And then there is the potency. This is simple math. To get the aromatic power of one single leaf of lovage, you would need to chop 10 stalks of supermarket celery. It is a concentrate of essential oils, phthalides, and terpenes that hit the palate with the force of a freight train. The science is clear. By choosing the pale, watery stalks from the supermarket, we have not only been ripped off financially, we have been starved nutritionally. The ancients were right. We were wrong.
So here we stand. The history is written, and the science is proven. The only question left is, what will you do with this knowledge? It is time to make a trade. It is time to trade the fragile for the strong. It is time to reclaim the flavor that was stolen from you. I am not asking you to burn down the supermarket. I am asking you to outsmart it. Think of lovage not as a vegetable, but as a flavor multiplier. In times of plenty, it is a gourmet delight. But in times of scarcity, when the shelves are bare or the budget is tight, this plant becomes your greatest ally. A simple pot of boiled potatoes, a bowl of plain rice, or a humble broth, these are survival foods. Alone, they are bland, but with just a single pinch of lovage, they become a feast. It is the culinary alchemy that turns poverty into dignity. This is why you must plant it, not for a single season, but for a lifetime. When you dig that hole in your garden and place the roots of Levisticum officinale into the soil, you are not just gardening, you are making an investment. You are planting an asset that does not depreciate. While the annual vegetables wither and die, lovage digs in. It sleeps under the snow, waiting. And when the winter breaks, while the rest of the world is rushing to buy seeds, your garden will already be feeding you. It asks for nothing. No chemicals, no constant watering, no fuss. It only asks for a small patch of earth to call home. In return, it gives you the taste of the Roman Empire, the strength of the Vikings, and the independence that the modern world tries so hard to take away. The knowledge is no longer lost. It is right here, in your hands. The seeds are waiting. So let the winter come. Let the snow fall. Your soil remembers. Welcome home. Welcome to ancestral soil.